on, let me get this.
Do we need the mic?
Let's go in first and say hi to him. And then we'll put the mic on. Alright, let's wait here for him.
He's not here yet? Mama.
No. That's the first time. Sorry, we're running out of.
Okay. Oh,
There you go.
is the mission still open?
Yes, it is. It's part of a self-guided tour, and it's $4.
It's okay, because I've lived in Downey for a while.
Oh yeah, okay.
When I was in college, and so great. And you also write a. So this is our museum. It's a small museum, but it's really historical to the mission. And do you know who Father Serra is?
No.
Father Junipero Serra?
You know.
He's the priest that led the Franciscans as they came up from Baja, Mexico to found the missions. And we just celebrated, he was just made a saint in the church in September, and then last night, or Saturday night, our Archbishop was here and we celebrated the canonization, the whole celebration of that.
Here?
And yes, we had a procession, a candlelight procession 3 blocks from here, and I think there were 30 priests and about 30 deacons, 2 bishops, and maybe about 700 people, all participating in the procession. So I'm going to show you a few things that are interesting. These are baskets that the native Indians made, the Chumash people. Most of them are from the Chumash. There are a few that are from other places, but they use these baskets either to carry things in or to carry water. For instance, this one you can see doesn't look like a basket much because they put pitch on it, so that's where they carried water in to their huts or their homes where they lived. And this one would have been for gathering food. And they also made special beads. They were known for, that's how, you know how you have money?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what they did. They didn't have money like we have. They exchanged beads and
that was
shells.
at the gift shop.
Those are the gift shop. Yeah.
Yes.
We went to the Chumash Indian Museum yesterday.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, so we saw some
You
of the
saw
similar
some of those
stuff.
there, yes. And then when the Franciscan priest, Father Serra, when he founded the mission, he used this, it's a monstrance, called a monstrance, and he used it to give a special blessing at the end of Mass. And on Saturday night, our Archbishop used it. And then that gold chalice over on the side, that's what he used when he celebrated the first Mass here on March 31st, 1782. That was just a few years ago, right? 1782, about 233 years ago. And these are some of the other liturgical appointments that have been used in the mission in the early days, early years of the mission life. Now, you know what a library is, yes?
Yeah.
So we have the second oldest library in California. Mission Santa Ynez has the oldest library, and I'll show you our library. It's right over here. And these are books that haven't been read for a long time. Most of them are Latin or in Spanish, but this is our historic library that was brought over by the early priests that founded the missions. Pretty neat looking books, huh?
Are they mostly Bibles?
Well, these are all theological books, so they'd either be on theology or church history, things of that nature. These look like prayer books down here. And then we have the only surviving cello. A cello is an instrument like a big violin. The only surviving cello from the mission era, and it's right here. There's a cello.
So it survived a fire, or?
It was found, they put a new roof on the mission in 1950s, and it was found up in the attic.
Oh, okay.
So Paul never got that, but it's deteriorated in that. And then this is the only adobe that we have left from the original artwork in the mission. So the artwork we have today has been repainted, but this is what it originally looked like after they completed the mission and the Indians did the artwork on the walls. That's what it was. You wouldn't hear it because we're the only mission that had wooden bells.
Oh, well, how would it sound?
They're like a thud. There you can see on the inside of on the other side there was a piece of metal that would be hit. And there's some speculation the mission was here because pirates did come. That's possible. Investments.
Daniel, this is really good picture taking over here. This is good for your report. This is my grandson, Daniel.
Daniel, priests know everything, yes?
Okay. You want to get a
I
picture?
bet you're in 4th grade. There you go. And most of the other one.
What kind of wood is it made of?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's if it says anything in here. It doesn't say what the wood is. Here you go. A replica of the original quadrangle. St. Luke was a doctor, a medical doctor. Oh, you never know. From,
It almost looks like petrified.
yeah. We have 5 educational signages. This one talks about the daily life, the Chumash daily life at the mission. And then there's about the agriculture and about the quadrangle and Sarah and the other missions. Then behind the mission is one on the aqueduct that we had. Isn't this neat?
Pretty nice.
And I have to live in that house right over there.
Oh.
I know it.
So sad for you.
Yeah.
The part is right over there, right in the middle.
The state of California chose these twin trees, but we were testing the lights out today because on the first Friday after Thanksgiving weekend we have a traditional tree.
Look at how straight they are. That would make
Yeah.
total sense.
They're 130. Very peaceful. And the flowers all donated by.
We're at San Buenaventura Mission.
There's also State Park.
Yes.
And do the other one.
And then we're gonna also
This is our passport.
This is our passport to history adventure to San Buenaventura
You're
Mission.
right. It's fourth grade mission country.
So
Want to go that way? All right, we can go that way, and then we'll go to the back of the mission. Then
okay.
So the inside is a little bit trying to get dark outside.
What?
We probably should see the outside first because it's trying to get dark out. And the,
Yeah,
and
we'll
the
see
lights on
outside
the
first.
mission will always be there.
Okay, let's see the outside first then.
Okay.
So this is the house where the priests live. This is where I live, right in here. And this house is fairly new. It was only built in 1928. It's not even 90 years old yet. It's a young house. But that church was finished in 1809, 100 years older. So when you visit Mission San Buenaventura, you will see 3 different centuries of architecture. The mission is the oldest. This little building here and the mission are the 2 oldest buildings in Ventura County. But then you have this very modern building, and that's our school and some other, a big salon, a big hall up there. And that was finished in 2001.
Yeah.
Now, when the Padres moved here, they had to have water, yes? And you don't want to drink the salt water at the ocean. So there was a river that came over this area and they built an aqueduct system. An aqueduct is like a channel for the water to come, and it would come and fill in. There's 2 huge vats. These are big, round, deep containers, and the fresh water would go in there, and then they would scrape off the top anything that they didn't want to drink, and then they would use that for drinking. They'd use that for the livestock, the horses or mules that were here, and any other animals, and also for people to drink and then to water their gardens. And that's how they got the water over here. So this is called a reservoir or the settling tank. And you can see 7-mile aqueduct system that came down. This is all blocks and bricks that carried the water to the mission from the river. And here's some remnants of the aqueduct. First pastor, and he died in 1806. And then Father Jose Senyan, who also became, after Father Serra died, he became the El Presidente of the missions. And then we'll walk to the back of the church, and I can show you some relics in there, and then we can walk up to the front.
You're walking, you're fine, okay? Stop walking.
Now, okay, I'm going to give you a special treat. You wait right here, maybe step back a little bit, and you watch the bells. I'm going to ring the bells for you.
Oh, cool.
Lots of big noise and celebration.
I heard one ding earlier.
So first I'm going to show you some relics. A relic is normally it's a little piece of bone. Wanted to pray at the early Christians' tombs, but then as the church started growing geographically, they couldn't all come back to Rome, so they started sending a little piece of the saint to be with them. And those are called relics, first-class relics. So we have some first-class relics of a variety of people. Saints in our church. There's one of Saint Sarah, and also Saint Jude Thaddeus, one of the apostles. The relics were kind of close to them. You know how sometimes you look at a picture of maybe a relative who has died, or someone who's died, and you see that picture and they remind you of the good times? Well, these relics remind us of the good times of those people. And the church, the way you see it now, is very, very similar to the way it was finished in 1809. Obviously, there was no carpet down here, and it was all tile. This is the original tile here from 1809.
Oh, wow.
And under the pews now it's concrete because in the 1950s they put that, what do you call that, the pipe heating, the pipes heat up to bring heat in here. Not radiant heat, I guess. And so that's how we keep the mission up, and the floors get warm. It's under the concrete. And they predate the mission by about 40 years. They were painted in Mexico by a Spaniard, depicting the sufferings of Jesus before he was crucified, and they've been restored in the 1960s, but
Chandelier is pretty.
yes. Burned candles. That's on loan to us from this weekend festivities.
Oh, okay.
It's going to end up at the cathedral in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
What about you?
7.
7. So, let's see, 70, about 15 sevens in 100 years, right? Roughly. So, 15, and this is 400, so that's 60 times older than you is this crucifix here. This came from the Philippines, and it's about 400 years old.
From the Philippines?
Yes, Spain occupied the Philippines long before they did Alta California.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
They had a route between the Philippines and Acapulco, and somehow this ended up here. But it's from the Philippines. It's about 400 to 450 years old now. A plater in Santa Barbara, and said I'd like to have it replated. And then he called me up about an hour later and he says, "Why do you want to plate this?" And I said, "You can see how the silver plating has all come off over the years." He said, "This is sterling."
I see.
And another little painting of Sarah that we just have really because of the festivities this weekend. It'll be coming out in a couple of days. And then we have our patron saint up in the center that would bring the red cape. That's Saint Bonaventure. Or Saint Bonaventure, when he was probably about your age, maybe a little bit younger, he was very sick for our little son that he gets well. And his name was Giuseppe or John. And he got well, and then when Francis heard it, he said, "Oh, Buenaventura, oh, good fortune." And then when he grew up, he joined the Franciscans, and they gave him that name, Buenaventura. And then he became the head of the Franciscans, and he became a bishop in the church and a cardinal in the church. And that's why.
What's the city named
Francis of Assisi, or what city? You mean Bonaventure?
Oh, Ventura.
Oh, yes, and the city is named after. The city's name is San Buenaventura. That's the official name. Everyone calls it Ventura, but the official name is San Buenaventura. And if you see City Hall, which is a few blocks from here, at the top it says San Buenaventura. And then we have 2 high schools in town. One is called Buena, and the other one's called Ventura. So the 2 public high schools split the name in half, and each of them have half the name. And but the county is named Ventura, not San Buenaventura. Assisting us. And I would suspect that those chairs are over 100 years old. Pretty old.
The ceiling's really high.
Yes, it's really high. And people light candles and say a prayer, and then the candle represents their prayer being repeated until the candle burns out, which is usually, I think, 3 days or 4 days. But it's a remembrance of their prayer.
Is he able to light one?
Pardon?
Is he able to light one?
You have to buy them in the gift
okay, I
shop.
see. Keep walking.
About this?
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
That's good. It's an old church, huh? Even
How
though,
old is it?
well, the foundation is 233 years old. This one was finished in 1809, so it's 206 years old. But it's probably the 5th or 6th oldest building in all of California. Even though there are 8 other missions built before us, or founded before us, some of their churches fell down from earthquakes and we had to rebuild them. But this has been standing since 1809. So I would think that it's probably the 5th or 6th or 7th oldest building in the state.
Like, are they, like, is it in order of,
Yes.
of
There's,
like, the beginning? Like number 1's the early.
number 1 is up in front there, and it captures 14 different moments when Jesus was going through his passion and suffering and death. And so they're numbered. In all churches, they're same numbering to remind us of the 14 experiences that Jesus had while he was suffering for us, through all the way to station 14, or the 14th station.
Hey, it's sitting out.
That's the 5 o'clock
Yeah.
bell.
Sila
Huh?
Oh,
There's still half an hour until we.
I know,
That's
but
okay,
we're
we-